You're listening to the Better Relationships After Baby podcast, where I believe things can actually be better than ever after having kids. But it takes intentional conversation, personal growth, and community to get there. I'm Chelsea Skaggs, life and relationship coach, fellow mom and wife, and lover of taboo topics. I'm here to give you insight, practical tools, and conversations to help your relationships survive and thrive through the big changes of parenthood. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back, friends. As we are in the midst, like deep in the midst of the holiday season, I hope that you're doing well. Are you giving yourself grace? Are you speaking kindly to yourself? Are you shifting some of your thoughts and your energy to the things that you love about your life and your family and yourself? It can be so easy for this time to be a time of comparison and self judgment and criticism. And yet, I really want to invite you into a space of grace and honoring your story, honoring your journey, and being proud of the things that you have done for yourself, for your kids, for your marriage, for your family. I anticipate this being a very, very short episode. And I wanted to just give you a reframe, offer you a reframe, especially if you are the person who feels a lot of pressure um, during the holidays, during things like birthdays or vacations, I want to offer you a shift that will bring you some more peace, will bring you some more alignment, and is meant to be a way to lean into the things that matter most to you. There are so many things competing for our attention, our energy, our finances, and this can become really obvious around the holidays. As you're traveling, perhaps to see family, maybe you have old friends in town. There are a million activities that you're probably invited to on Facebook events from, all the holiday things that are going on. The question I want you to ask yourself, to ask your partner, and if your kids are the age where they can answer this question as well, is how do we want this time to feel? Not what are all the things on our to-do list, not where all do we need to be and what all do we need to do, but how do we want to feel during this time? I'm sure you guys know the quote or a variation of this quote. People will forget what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And this, I believe, is true also for the people in our lives, specifically our children. And they're going to forget a lot of the specific details. Your kids will forget exactly where you went. Your kids will forget how many of the local spots you made it to this year. Your kids will forget how many years of their childhood they made it to the zoo lights. Your kids will forget whether their gifts had perfectly wrapped edges and a special label on the top. Just these things that we can be stressed about, especially in the age of social media where maybe you get on TikTok and then you see, okay, well, this mom did this and this mom did this and this mom did this and her gifts look great and her family did this tradition and this family got this specifically posed picture and this family went to these 5 spots. And I believe, I don't have scientific research behind this, but I truly believe Your kids are going to remember how the holidays felt. They're not going to remember how many boxes you checked off to keep up, or even, to well intentionally try to make it magical. There's a lot of pressure, specifically on moms, around making the holidays magical. And I want to push into that a little bit and say, yes, 100%. Yes, there are so many ways that we want to bring the magic and be the magic and see our children's eyes light up. And also, I think our children are going to remember the way the holidays felt. Do they feel stressed? Do they feel rushed? Do they feel disconnected? Do they feel overwhelming? That's a question you get to pause and ask yourself. Okay, how do you want the holidays to feel? And then backwards plan from that. What are the things we can do to make the holidays feel connected, peaceful, full of thankfulness? I mean, whatever that is for you. And hopefully, this is a conversation you have with your partner. How do we want the holidays to feel? What are the things we say yes to because they're in alignment with that? What are the things we say no to in order to maintain that feeling we want it to have? And how do you reconcile in yourself all the areas that maybe you feel pressure to do all the things, to be all the things, to have all the things, to show all the things? And what's the work inside of you that you can start to do to let go of that pressure that sometimes creates chaos and stress and overwhelm during times like the holidays? This is something that our family learned when we were traveling for a couple of years in our RV, was that every place we went, there were so many things we could do. Every new adventure was full of things that we could do. And yet, when we tried to do them all, it didn't feel good. It felt stressful. It felt overwhelming. It felt like we were just checking boxes and not leaning in and connecting with one another in the experience. And that's what I invite you to bring into the holiday season. How do you want it to feel? What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? How do you work with your partner to know how you want to navigate this time? And how do you give yourself some grace? Because the way you show up to your kids and to your family oftentimes matters a lot more than the amount of things you do or buy or take them to. They're going to remember how the holidays feel. And I want you to write your own story of priorities. For me, I want the holidays to feel cozy, slow, connected. I want them to be full of laughter. That means snuggles. For us and our older kids, that means games around the dining room table. It means, believe it or not, we didn't go to zoo lights this year. We haven't done a bunch of activities, and that is okay. Because early on, I felt like we had to check all the boxes, and I rushed our family here and rushed our family there, and it created tension. And it was like I was just trying to check all the boxes, to do all the things I thought I was supposed to do. And that wasn't good for my marriage. That wasn't good for my mental health. That wasn't good for the energy and the feeling of the event for my whole family. So I've been there if this is you. And I want to invite you to the other side of saying you don't have to do all the things. So the question I'll leave you with again that I want to invite you, not going to tell you what to do, but I want to invite you to use for the holidays, but also to tuck in your back pocket for birthdays, vacations, just those special moments, is starting not with the to-do list, but starting with the question of how do we want this time to feel? And what do we say yes and no to stay as closely aligned with that feeling as we possibly can, knowing there are things out of your control. I wish you a very connected, peaceful, grateful holiday season. I encourage you to take time to reflect on how you've grown as an individual, how you and your partner have changed and grown together, and who you want to be, how you want to feel in your own self and in your relationship in the new year. And if some things come up, I am happy to hold space to talk to you about that and what it looks like to orient life around what feels good to you and your family and not all the extra things on the outside that might be causing you pressure. All right. I can't wait to talk to you soon, friends. And again, wishing you a good, peaceful, connected, grateful holiday season.
If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful if you take a minute to help spread the word. As a small business owner, shares and reviews go a long way. So share this episode with a friend, share it on your social media, and please leave a review if you haven't done so. This helps these messages get to more mamas, and you guys, that's how we change the world.